Hello, welcome to my channel. Today we're looking into the disappearance of Carol Sue Skidmore. Missing since April 9th, 1977, Rossville, Polk County, Georgia. Polk County is not Rossville. Rossville, Georgia is Walker County, and Rossville is near Chattanooga, Tennessee, whereas Polk County is Rockmart, and it's closer to Marietta, kind of. It's more going towards Atlanta, whereas Rossville's more going towards Tennessee area. Um, just FYI. Rossville's not Polk County, but anyway, she was born October 13th, 1950. When she went missing, she was 26 years old, about 5'6", 140 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Her nickname was Sissy. Sissy was last seen with her husband, who committed suicide and was located in Arkansas. Foul play is feared in her disappearance. Okay, let's see. Charlie Project. She was born October 13th, 1950, 26 years old, 5'6", 140 pounds, nicknamed Sissy, brown hair, brown eyes, Rossville, Georgia. Last seen in Rossville, Georgia, just south of the Tennessee border on April 9th, 1977. She and her husband of 1 year, James Ronald Skidmore, and her 5-year-old son, Lindell Mahaffey, one of the 4 children she had from a previous marriage, had left their Texas home to visit James's parents in Rossville March 29th in order to put their marriage back together. The last time Carol's parents heard from her was April 9th, when she spoke to them on the phone and said she wasn't sure when she'd be coming home. All 3 of them disappeared together. May 5th, her son Lynn's body was found in Parksville Lake in Cleveland, Texas. Had been there for several weeks. The child was the victim of a homicide. The body was found wrapped in a plastic bag and weighted with a 40-pound rock. It wasn't identified until June 13th. By then, his stepfather had also been found deceased. James was found dead of a drug overdose in a hotel room in Harrison, Arkansas on June 1st. He had died by suicide. He wrote a letter to his former wife telling her he was going to take his own life because things weren't working out for him. There was no sign of Carol. She has never been heard from again, due to the circumstances involved in her disappearance. Foul play is suspected. In Carol's case, she's from Texas, and Texas police are investigating the disappearance. And then it has links to different various newspapers with information. So on this one, I saw Web Sleuth, and you could join Web Sleuth, I'm sure. And there's some information here. Let's see what they have, because I saw there was a lot of information. 26-year-old female, wedding band, last seen with her husband, who had committed suicide. You can pause this and read it. I'm skimming through. This right here, it says OCR text, March 29th, 1978. Family fights for return of boy's body. When James Skidmore left here, March 20th, 1977, with his wife Carol and stepson Lynn, he told Carol's parents, John and Claire Ward, they were flying to Tennessee for a week to put their marriage back together. The last of words heard from Carol was on April 8th telephone call, when she told them she just didn't know when they would be coming home. I had a feeling something was wrong then, Mrs. Ward said in a telephone interview. Carol had this big German Shepherd dog where they lived in Sealy, and she just wouldn't go away and leave it like that. May 5th, Polk County, Tennessee. God, I'm not sure where Polk County, Tennessee is. Authorities pulled the body of a young boy from Parksville Lake in the southeastern part of the state, but the Wards knew nothing about it until they talked with the Skidmore parents in Rossville, Georgia on May 8th. That night, we put out 2 APBs through the police here, but the Tennessee authorities said our grandson's identification didn't match the body they found at all. Mrs. Ward said, so we were relieved and relaxed. Wow. The body was buried there on March 22nd. The Wards are now trying to have the body returned to Texas for burial, but they feel they are fighting a losing battle. Well, June 1st, our son-in-law took his life in Harrison, Arkansas, and the Boone County Sheriff called and asked for our grandson's birth certificate. Miss Ward said he said they needed it to clear up some kind of mystery, but I said, don't worry, the body they found was not our grandson. On June 13th, Sheriff Buck Green called Mrs. Ward back and told her the FBI had confirmed the body did belong to her grandson. Miss Ward said neither she nor her husband ever identified the body in any way other than the description they provided in the missing persons bulletin. Ward back and told her the FBI had confirmed the body did belong to her grandson. Mrs. Ward said neither she nor her husband ever identified the body in any way other than the description. That's there twice. They provided in the missing persons bulletin. 5-year-old Lindell Mahaffey was Carol Skid's son by a previous marriage. Carol is 27, married Skidmore, a Sealy, Texas carpenter in the summer of 1976. Skidmore had also been married before and had 4 children. Mrs. Ward said she talked to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation agent Wayne Atkins the day after Green told her Lynn was dead. They didn't give us any explanation, but I asked him to please send us a death certificate so we could have the little body shipped back here. Mrs. Ward said she and her husband are still waiting for the certificate. The Wards are accepting tilt rail word, I don't know what that means, that the body pulled from the lake was Lynn's, and they say now they have given up hope of ever seeing Carol alive again. Miss Ward said she had a call into District Attorney Richard Fisher in Cleveland, Tennessee. For 3 weeks, he has not returned the call. Mrs. Ward said there are many unanswered questions. At one time, it was reported police had found a set of false teeth in the bushes near the lake where they found the boy's body. Mrs. Ward said she understood her son-in-law wore false teeth, but has no idea whether anyone ever tried to trace the teeth to Skidmore. I wouldn't say we're unhappy with the Tennessee police, Mrs. Ward said. We just can't get any answers. We can't get the death certificate. If they ever do find Carol's body, and she has to be somewhere, she just didn't vanish, we would want for her and Lynn to be buried together. Now it looks like we won't even be able to bring his little body back here. And then they give you some sources. This is a very strange and interesting case, this one says. Text from the Kingsport Times, Tennessee. Identity sought, Cleveland, Tennessee. A composite sketch of the boy whose body was found in a weighed garbage bag in a Polk County lake Thursday was made Saturday, and pictures will be distributed nationwide in an effort to identify the youngster. Chattanooga Police Department Identification Officer Robert Moles made this sculpture at Blount Memorial Hospital in Maryville, where the body of the child was taken. It took Moles 6.5 hours to produce a bust, from which pictures will be made. District Attorney General Richard Fisher of Cleveland asked for the sculpture. The boy, believed to be between 4 and 5 years of age, was found in Parksville Lake in eastern Polk County Thursday by State Highway Department employees. The body was encased in a garbage bag that had been wired with a 40-pound weight. Fisher said there are no reports of a missing boy in southeast Tennessee area. Fisher said at the present time, authorities are checking a number of telephone tips. The child's body was taken to the Maryville Hospital, where an autopsy was to be performed. Fisher said the child was 3 feet 7 inches tall and weighed about 40 to 50 pounds. He was wearing blue jeans and a white shirt with a geometric pattern on it. He said the child died somewhere between April 15th and May 1st. One clue Fisher noted was that the boy had apparently had a tooth pulled 4 or 5 weeks ago, possibly by a dentist. He said the child also had another tooth which was decayed. Text from the Courier News, Arkansas. Body of missing Texas man found in motel in Harrison, Arkansas. The body of a Texas man missing since late March has been found in a motel room near Harrison, according to Sheriff Loy Green of Boone County. Now, Green says authorities are trying to find out what happened to the man's wife and her 5-year-old son. Green said the body of James Ronald Skidmore, 38, was found by the motel manager on Wednesday. The coroner ruled that the man died from a drug overdose. Fingerprints were sent to Texas for positive identification. Skidmore's 28-year-old wife Carol and her son Lynn Mahaffey are missing. Green said they were last seen when all three flew from their Sealy, Texas home to Rossville, Georgia, and spent the night with Skidmore's parents. That was March 29th. Authorities are trying to determine if the body of a 5-year-old boy found in a lake at Chattanooga, Tennessee, is that of Mrs. Skidmore's son, Green said. Mrs. Skidmore has family in the Chattanooga area. Authorities said that Skidmore was an ex-convict and was on parole. Text from the Valley Morning Star, Texas. Bodies not linked to missing family by Associated Press. Authorities investigated the disappearance of a Texas family, said Tuesday that the discovery of a woman's body near Houston and child's body near Chattanooga, Tennessee is probably not related to the case. James and Carol Skidmore of Sealy, Texas, vanished March 29th along with Mrs. Skidmore's 5-year-old son. Lynn Skidmore's body was found last week in a motel. Oh, Lynn. Her 5-year-old son, Lynn, period. Skidmore's body was found last week in a motel near Harrison, Arkansas, and the coroner ruled that he died from an overdose of drugs. With the discovery of the bodies of the woman and the young boy, authorities thought they might be able to call off the search for the Skidmores and turn their attention to finding out how and why they died. However, Chief Deputy Sheriff B.T. Nowitzki of Austin County, Texas, said Tuesday that a longtime friend of Mrs. Skidmore, looked at the body of the woman found in Lake Livingston and said it definitely was not the body of Mrs. Skidmore. Meanwhile, at Cleveland, Tennessee, the District Attorney General Richard Fisher said dental records indicated that the body of the young boy found in the lake near Chattanooga, Tennessee, I added Tennessee on accident, was not the body of Mrs. Skidmore's son. Fisher said, however, that he had asked for footprints of the missing boy so he could make a positive identification. I'm not too sure that it will be the body of the son because the description doesn't fit, said Sheriff Lloyd Green of Boone County, Arkansas, who is investigating Skidmore's death. The Skidmores were last seen alive when they left the home of Skidmore's father at Rossville, Georgia on March 29th. It is a mystery to us at this time why he came in this direction, said Green. If he had ever been in this part of the country before, we have no word of it, Green said. He talked with Skidmore's former wife, Glenda, and she said James Skidmore indicated in a letter she received last Friday that he was taking his own life because things weren't working out, Green said. Whoops. Text from Kingsport News, 6/15/1977. Boy's body identified. Cleveland, a 5-year-old boy found dead in Parksville Lake May 5th has been identified as a Texas child whose mother is still missing. District Attorney General Richard Fisher announced Monday that the dead child had been identified as Lindell Mahaffey. Fisher said the child was the stepson of James Skidmore, a man found dead of a drug overdose June 1st in a Harrison, Arkansas motel room. Further indicated Parksville Lake would be searched again for the child's mother, Carol Sue Skidmore. Authorities had used divers several weeks ago in an attempt to locate another body. The family was last seen together March 29th, Rossville, Georgia, just south of the Tennessee border, near Chattanooga, where they visited relatives. The child had been dead several weeks when found wrapped in a plastic bag that had been weighted with a 40-pound rock. Fisher said that the mold made of the child's head and his footprints at birth had been examined by the FBI in Washington in comparison, convinced authorities that it was the body of the Mahaffey youth. The Attorney General said that 50 leads had been followed up vigorously by law enforcement officers in trying to identify the child, buried May 22nd in an unmarked grave at Benton. Okay. Let's see. This is a story about the woman found in Lake Livingston mentioned above. First thought to be Carol Skidmore, she was identified as Phyllis Boyd. 1977, murder victim found floating in Lake Livingston, wrapped in duct tape. Lake Livingston. So, from the unknown boy info increased Benton, Tennessee. After 8 days of fruitless investigation, Polk County Sheriff Harold Ramsey posted a $5,000 reward for the identity of a little boy whose body was found floating in the weighted sack. It's pretty bad business when something like this happens, said Ramsey. The reward is for any information leading to the identification of the boy that will lead to the arrest and conviction of whoever is responsible. 3, you can pause this and read it. I'm just skimming through this now at this time. And then this one says, I think this is about the funeral of Lynn. There is even a photo of the burial. I don't have access to somebody with a registration. It's sad that the grandma was not able to have the body exhumed. Are we 100% sure Carol ever arrived at her parents' in-laws' home in Rossville, Georgia? So, my question would be, this is a story about a woman found in Lake Livingston mentioned above, first thought to be Carol Skidmore. She was identified as Phyllis Boyd. So, was she actually Phyllis Boyd? Or is there a possibility that she was actually Carol Skidmore? I can't help but wonder that. That's the question, and I just don't know. Anyway, there's that. If you have any information at all about this family, please contact authorities and let them know. Maybe you could email them, maybe give them the information. It's been years. Maybe you could CC the sheriff's department, a couple of detectives, as well as police department, from Rossville, Georgia, or Chattanooga, Tennessee, or Cleveland, Tennessee, and those areas to see that they get the information that you have. Please don't forget to pray for their families and their loved ones. Feel free to leave comments, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.